Konge lonjen jinyen jinja nidra nanda erasa jinyen dengen jijin sije nidje tukar lebam zen kondo sepe tsendar mari mendun dunga jisere rozo kunla puji tars yen loin chuje yon den zon rodren che jo nyemo nyelo leje cha jo ro zen jen mare men zen dongal nyugo jinyen jenze ralje nam dene ta jen sa ju den le zon jas tu go che dan che dan chunyen jenje dale men zen Jambe yon la de mara vazana de mara vazana de mara vazana de mara vazana mara vazana de mara vazana de mara vazana de mara vazana de mara mara vazana de 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 mara vazana Ara vazana de mara vazana de mara vazana de mara vazana de mara Arabazana Deo Marabazana 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 Umarabazana Deo Marabazana 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 Umarabazana Deo Marabazana Deo Marabazana Deo Marabazana Deo Marabazana Umara Bhajana Deo Mara 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 Bhajana Umara Bhajana De 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 Zeden Cheche Chenra Zerenje Dale Demo Membaraza Kadan Denje Shonlo Tobai Lodre Bobe Nawa Zaldo Jimo, Ridan Jimbur Jansen Janda, Kadin Zonda Majeva, Balawajin Jinja Beja Jindu Jima Me Balangu, de Kosumbu Bajin Bimbo and Chanza, Jinja Zucho, Shewan and Saram Tam Jedu. Tuji Jesu Zimbranze Duzo, Kongisha Zonda, Mingum Gezar Zimbendo Dashin, Zembezi and Dumbar Windu Kunmigin to Zijuru, Tujidama Kuneshu and Jidensum Jikonjabe. Tombe mogar be jabe dirin dale yanzur shon genzo lembe men dombo zeren jave namdo ranjen jendo zenzo be je yunden chombar be pe manjunen dale yanzur shon kumbulu duar yan dewa dan tome nyen cholan chu jenda chu jun shanam nye baozo zamlin jenjo nan jenda e shon kante devgaren jenyen be gola yan den kunchonga ve shazar do nyimbe den zembe be nanjurba Chime vezere jabjenda e shon, redon jamba shonu jinole, gombilon le po beter jendul, do jenzen jamzen awanjur, mifan jambi anjenda e shon. Kongi dala riba loba dan, do jiden jeme ngana la so, laba zadan, ungurishin lambe, muju tinchen la menda e shon. Namo guru, chinyimpa mendunje, shetsala kunjaran chun tuje jimbe jen, tuje kalaka mendana wa. Palden la me jajenda ijon, yende zanje gana nyana ya, kaden zanje kun le la begun, sawe la me jala soande, pason drove lam na che la anjur, konda jujur dongi jidena, deshe la marjur ba kansu da, tindir dambe ju jinjar bebe, simbar devan tadan dir she, namo aryan tambal, hai kedan lo dan jinge, ndubum da dame, kenam dan, dua kunji danam jizambar, Tamje gedo sozur te jurnje. Majurndo anamka danyambe semjen tamje namdol tenji dewa la name bayan to konzo bisanji jimbo wan rinpoche la chini janggo prasha. Tei chedo tepa chimbe shonglo jase chimbo shiwa la tenin jinzebe shung chimbo chanju simbi choba lan juba tenin. Sul shindu sene nyam su langwar jiwa nyamdo samba chanju chodo tuje badan che de sen thals. So, generating the awakened mind at the before we actually begin to this meritorious activity of teaching and listening, or the studying this um, the way of Bodhisattva's life in this way, that for the sake of all the motherly sentient beings equal to its space, um, to everyone to free from the cyclic existence and its cause, the karma and afflictive emotions, and then to lead them to complete enlightened. For this purpose, I'm going to listening this Mahayana scripture composed by Shantideva, the way of Bodhisattva's life, and I will going to implement it with that kind of preparation. Listen this teaching, and an additional that the manner or the conduct while listening Dharma teachings should prepare in this way, that listen carefully, mm, kind of like in an excellent way, and try to implant all the meaning as well as the words which describing the meanings. And with that kind of preparation, listen this Dharma teaching. And then uh, the actual Dharma teaching, this way of Bodhisattva's life, which has 10 chapter with the 4 theme. Among the 10 chapters, we completed 7 of them. Among the 4 theme, we completed 2 of them. That we are in a 3rd theme. And then among the chapter, we are here in the 8th chapter. So the the 3rd theme, which is to kind of like the how to improve or develop further uh, our bodhicitta, and until or the ultimately until what kind of like we can enhance or improve our bodhicitta. Mm, that is the 3rd theme. Uh, in order to improve or develop our bodhicitta or the enhance until its ultimate, then uh, it's required the diligence and meditative concentrations and wisdom or the conviction. Um, so these 3 things which is required in order to develop or improve our Mahayana training. Uh, then among them, so this how to improve diligence and how to have diligence and improve, develop diligence within oneself, which we already covered. And then now the second one, that how to improve the meditative concentrations. And that's what we are studying in this chapter 8, the mainly. And then the to improve or to have it or to improve the meditative concentration within oneself, and first we need to understand that its contraries, which is we can summarized or kind of like in very short, that uh, its contraries are 2 of them, that physically involving in crowdness and mentally involving in emotion or the conceptualizing. So these are the 2 main contraries, and which means that in short, another one, that in short we can say also like involving in mundane. So involving in mundane means either we involve in mundane uh, by our physical involving in crowdness, or mental in emotion or the conceptualizing in this way that we are kind of like a stuck or involving in mundane. So this um, to gain or to improve the meditative concentrations, and it has become so important uh, to kind of like avoid and those mundane and the uh, both this physical and mental uh, involving in mundane. So now within these two countries, that how that we are involving our physical in crowdness, and then how should we uh, remove or uh, kind of like how should we uh, relieve ourself our physical from crowdness, and all these techniques, and how to meditate upon its antidote and everything which we already studied. And then now we are here in the second one, the which is the mental involving in mundane, which is the mental involving in concepting or emotional. So that's now how to avoid that. And then among the emotion, and then specifically here referring the desire emotion or the attachment, which is the uh, which is something very how to say disturbing, this emotion among the emotion, but particularly the attachment or the desire uh, towards anything. Yeah, desiring um, kind of like the all the five senses source object, or the person whosoever, that attaching or desiring or clinging. um, and then how to say, among that desire, this one, the desiring or attaching in mundane we call like a fall in love. So the falling in love with somebody, regardless of ages, regardless of whatsoever, the gender or whatsoever. So as long as kind of like we are following in love or attachment, desire, and that's creates a lot of trouble and problem. And then among this, that particularly the gender desire is the most difficultiest desire to deal with it. So this gender desire or gender like a following in love, or um, which is something uh, so hard to kind of like remove from within oneself, and that is the particularly the most the strongest object that we may uh, kind of like fall ourselves, or we may become blind completely, you know, which makes blind us completely. So therefore here Shantideva, when he talked about the country of mental, so the country of mental is talks about after, like even in an isolated place, that we may can uh, kind of like the our mind can be involved in conceptualizing every all the mundane. And then here mundane mainly the gender, like male attaching female and falling love in female, and then female falling love in male or attaching to a male, regardless of ages or regardless of whatsoever, as long as we each attach or fall in love That's wrong. That's kind of like the troublemaker, as I already said before, that how Shakyamuni Buddha said that how the normal people, they spend their time most in their life. So the mainly that Shakyamuni Buddha also says, we chased after each other, male, female, female, male, and then uh, even regardless of age, even when we become old, the old man cherishing after young woman, and then the old woman, old female, also cherishing after young man. That habit or the patterns, it's so kind of like a that habit is so rooted, or that pattern is so rooted in our mind. We should look very carefully ourselves. We should watch ourselves. If this is attachment, desire, then regardless that whoever that object, it is mundane, which means that will never let us improve our meditative concentrations. So that we must remove regardless if we want to improve our meditative concentrations. If we do not want to improve our meditative concentration, then uh, kind of like how to say, still might be not okay, because it will create a lot of problem. The problem, no one wants problem, right? It is not only preventing us to how to say uh, develop the meditative concentration, but it is on the other hand, it is also creating a lot of trouble within oneself and within others and within surrounded people, within community and everything, within family members. Even we just discussed this a little bit before, that because of the gender, let's say because of the female because of the male, they even contempt their parent, their most dearest close friend. They may fight with them for this purpose. They may contempt them. They may humiliate them, scorn them, or slander them, disdain, and everything, just to get that embrace, just to get that embrace. So therefore, here Shantideva, when he talks about um, the second contrary, which is the mental falling in emotion, involving in emotion, or concept for involving in concept. So the biggest concept that disturbs us when we are when we stay single is the gender concept, gender attachment. And nowadays, even maybe same gender attachment too. That's really strange now, isn't it? Same gender attach nowadays happening. Not only different gender, but also same gender attachment is there. So regardless now, same gender or different gender, or that the young or old, doesn't matter, as long as involving in attachment, desire, then that's what we need to understand. Oh, I am involving, myself is involving in mundane. That's finished. So now, involving in mundane, such a thing, that what Guru Padmasambhava said, that by in this way, involving in mundane, if it fulfill our wishes, then might be okay for this life. But even for this life, it will never going to fulfill our wishes. Instead, it will ruin all our wishes. It will take away all our expectations, all our hope, all our wishes. And therefore, that Guru Padmasambhava said, I already said this earlier, that as soon as involved in this marriage, that's the very day that began you sown the seed to experience those five fruition. Yes, as long as this emotion involved, it is very truth. Even 100 people gathering, but when we do not have attach each other, following love in each other among these 100 people, then even living 100 people together, no problem. And as long as, even though on the other hand, even though there is only 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, but among those 2 people or 3 or 4 people, if someone fall in love in someone within that group, even small group, and then since that day, this whole group will going to be bubbling, start all kind of like a, how to say, beginning to agitating each other, and kind of like a, there are many things happening. This is something very happening in our day-to-day life, that we cannot neglect that. We cannot forbid that. We cannot neglect that. This is something very obvious, that each and everybody in this world, as long as they fall in this situation, and from that moment, the problem is a start. And if this is even the small group, two, three, 4, 5 group, they will, this group won't able to stay calm and very supportively, cannot, because of that biased thing is already started in among this group, because someone fall in love in someone attaching in someone. That means now that starts biased activities is begin from there. This is really truth. It is something kind of like a fact, that no matter what, I'm just talking here the fact, what happening in our day-to-day life. And after understanding all this fact, then we have a chances to shape, modify all this. Without understanding, and then we feel like this is something okay to do it in a world. Yeah, this is something everybody has a right. As long as I fall in love in someone, and I have a right to bias with that particular person. And then also others also think same way, as long as she fall in love in me, and then she herself also thinks that, and then everybody others may be also thinking that way. This is right to fall and to do a bias, because that fall in love, because that we are unable to recognizing that following in love is mistake. That according to mundane, we say that's okay, that's just part of life. We think this is part of life. But that is actually the root of the problem, those five fruition, as Guru Padmasambhava mentioned, right? That as soon as we involve in this following in love or attaching to someone, and then we sown the seed of those five fruitions, which is conflict, enmity, argument, and lament, or the grief and suffering, right? And then interesting, Guru Padmasambhava also mentioned that following in this, like attaching to each other, different gender or same gender, doesn't matter, as long as we fall love in someone, as long as we attached to someone particular. And then the what actually which we really try to achieve by generating wishes with that sense of attachment, that which we are trying to accomplish or gain or obtain, that what Guru Padmasambhava clearly he mentioned, it's not exist. What we are trying to obtain is not exist. So therefore, looking something which is not exist, then one will never find, and never finding which is not exist itself is trouble. Isn't it? That's trouble. Simple. This is very simple. That's what he said. That we are looking or finding something which is not exist. And not being able to find something which not exist, that itself become suffering. And that's what, when people fall in love, they're doing that, finding something which is not exist, and working day and night so hard, putting effort, energy, time, everything for that which is not exist. For that, if it is exist, at least there's a something to obtain. But since the fruition, since the goal is not exist, and what we are working so hard for, what we are spending our time and energy for, but on the other hand, I have to be very practical too, because but still we have that strong habit that we think and we feel, yes, there are something to obtain. We are a little bit hesitating to accept the 100% what Guru Padmasambhava said. The Guru Padmasambhava said 100% it does not exist. But even the person who kind of like know all these things intellectually, still having little hesitating, like maybe 60-70% accepting that what Guru Padmasambhava said, which is not exist, but not being able to 100% accept what he said, that what we are looking, it's not exists, not being able to accept 100%, you know. And then the even intellectual who have this all knowledge, understanding, If they fail to accept this statement 100%, then other people who does not know anything, like a very ordinary, who does not have any education about spiritual, if you say this to them, they will going to laugh. They will going to say, yeah, there is something to gain, obtain. When you purpose someone and you, at the end, you get merit, and that's what you get it. What you're looking or you get it. But that's the not things that Guru Padmasambhava are talking about here. The main purpose why I am trying to get that different gender, like why I'm trying to get the female. It's because the main point, I want to get some happiness, pleasure, pleasant, which it's not going to gain by getting this female, female for to the female, male, okay? Cannot get it. Not just cannot get it, that pleasant pleasure, happiness, plus when you get that different gender, you the whatever the basic problem you have, already you have, and now you're adding another problem on top of it, another problem maker involved. Now we make problem each other, not only one side, okay? We made problem each other. She made problem for me, I make problem for her. Even though these all kind of like those great scholar masters, they declared all these things to now, just intellectually understanding all these things, that proving that just intellectually understanding all this information is not enough. Now we need to meditate upon those meaning. We need to how to say, mingle all this information with our mind. So we need to change our mindset. Right now, our mindset is like, if I try to get something, get some different gender, and I propose, and put effort, then I will going to get it that different gender. That's what we have. And I will going to, by getting that different gender brings happiness. That's what we hoping, right? That's what we're hoping. That happiness, now Guru Rinpoche talking here, it's not exist. Impossible that we can obtain happiness by obtaining somebody. Anyway, so here, the second contrary, the mental concept, emotion, involving in emotion. The biggest emotion that we will fall in is the always concerning and thinking about that gender more than wealth, more than anything, actually, more than anything. That's the number one uh, goal, priority according to the mundane. In mundane, I think that's the biggest kind of like achievement. There's no bigger achievement than that. When you have a good wife, or when you have a good husband, and when you have a good family, oh, you are success. That's what, according to the mundane, we think, isn't it? So anyhow, so the among the countries, the material wealth, and this also disturbs our mind, distracts our mind. But the biggest distraction, the greatest distraction for our mind is the gender, the person. In short, we can say person. The gender, different gender or same gender, doesn't matter, the person. So therefore now, among the gender, then this, the biggest one is that who we are, we fall love in it. And then now, in order to develop this meditative concentrations, that distractions, we must lay it low and eventually eradicate. Because with this distraction and achieving meditative concentration, it's impossible. This will interfere so much in our everyday life. Therefore, with this distraction, and then trying to accomplishing some sort of like a meditative concentrations become impossible now. That's for sure. That's now regardless of Mahayana, Vajrayana practitioner, or Mahayana practitioner, Theravada practitioner, regardless. Okay? Physical, there are some escape code. But this mental distraction, there's a no escape code. As long as you have this mental distraction, you cannot say, oh, I am Mahayana practitioner, so this is okay, I can transfer into path. And I am Vajrayana practitioner, that it's okay that I can, this is the Vajrayana path. No, this is not a Vajrayana path either. This emotion, regardless whatever the tradition or the whatever the classes that one might practicing, Theravadan classes or Mahayana classes or Vajrayana classes, even Dzogchen classes, regardless, this emotion is from the point of view of all this tradition or all these classes, something needs to be removed. That's for sure. So, okay, anyway, so therefore now, among the mental destruction, the gender which distracts our mind is the biggest and greatest distraction. So therefore, Shantideva, how to say, guiding from here, this is stanza 39 onward. So many stanzas actually, that all talking about the mainly to lay it low and eradicate the attachment, desire to gender attachment. I am saying here, okay, gender attachment. I'm not saying one is specific, because it can be both sides, right? Male, female, female, male. And then now even male, male, female, female nowadays. Regardless, as long as attached to different person, that's something that one must lay it low, and eventually one must try to eradicate that completely. This is unhealthy, very unhealthy. That's 100% sure. Proved it already. But it's still, on the other hand, as I said earlier, we have this strong habit on the other hand, which force us to involve in this attachment, desire. Now, something that we need to battle with ourselves. For instance, like this, I have to battle myself with my mind, See now, my mind is my emotion, my enemy. My mind which seeking someone, my mind which is filled with the attachment, desire, and looking someone, that mental will going to bring suffering, trouble to me. Now I have to be very cautious with my mind, which is filled with the attachment and desire, like two things. This is me and this is my mind. Here, this my mind, particularly the mind with the filled with the attachment, desire. Now needs to fight here. This we have habit, this attached pattern we have built so long time, and now through these scriptures we become little aware about it now. Now we know how to be little cautious about this. Now this is time for the person who doesn't know anything about this, who doesn't study anything about like this kind of study in the scriptures, then to them this is not there. The cautious and awareness is not there. This mind is 100% dominating. Then we, like I, become slave of my mind. I become slave of my emotion. And then particularly, I become the slave of my attachment. Among the emotion, this attach is the something kind of like a so continuous and constant. Almost every moment it comes with. Where anger emotion does not come that often. Where jealous emotion does not come that much. Where pride emotion does not come that much. Where stingy emotion does not come that much either. This attachment mixed it with the ignorant, self-grasping, these three or two, the self-grasping can be included into the ignorant. Mixing of ignorant and attachment is the emotion which always, every moment with us. We get angry because of that. We get jealous because of that. We get pride because of that. We get stingy. We generate stingy emotion because of that. And then that attachment, particularly the attaching to someone else. Attaching to someone else is the biggest country of mental destruction. So therefore, before we try to develop our meditative concentrations, Shantideva wants us to reduce, lay it low, or eventually eradicate that attachment, attaching to someone, desiring to someone. And for that we already studied that Shantideva giving this like that last time we studied, he gave this short one, which is the stanza 39, and then the elaborate from the stanza 40 onward. 40, 41, and 42, this three stanza talks about the what do you call it? The hardshipness, that how much hardshipness that we should go through or take to gain, to get that person in our life. So mainly he talks about this three hardshipness, right? Three hardshipness. And then now, with understanding this three hardshipness, and then if we are able to lay it low and eradicate this attachment, desire to the someone else, to the person, other person, then the purpose of this main teaching is gone now. If anyone just by, how to say, uh, practicing or implementing or meditating upon this three hardshipness that what Shantideva instructed in order to get that person, that this kind of three types of hardshipness that which we need to go through. By contemplating or implementing all this, and then if we are able to lay it low and eradicate this attach or desire towards the other person, then this purpose is gone now. Then we are good. For instance, let's say I can say, then if you are able to lay it low and eradicate the attachment and desire towards the gender, towards other person, by implementing this instruction from this 40 and 41 and 43, 42 stanza that what Shantideva mainly instructed. By implementing this instruction, and then if we are able to remove that attachment desire, then it's, I think we don't have to go so much further. But now from here, Shantideva mainly talking about, even by understanding all those hardshipness that what we need to go through, but it's still not convincing completely, or not being able to remove attach and desire completely to other person, the gender desire, then Shantideva providing another instructions for us to contemplate and then eradicate that attachment towards different gender, or attaching towards gender, desiring for gender, by he's letting us contemplate upon its nature, it's natural, okay, it's nature. So from here, this stanza 43 onward, uh, until the stanza 70, from 43 to 70, it's all Shantideva talking about letting us contemplate upon its nature. The it refers to that particular gender who you're looking for. For instance, for the male, the female, that's what we're looking for, right? Now, Shantideva is letting us contemplate upon it, the female nature, nature of the female. And then likewise, if the listener is female, then those female looking in their life, the male, right? Now from here, Shantideva was letting those female to watch its nature. It means the male which you're looking for. And look at now the male's its nature. Now Shantideva is trying to instructing all this, how to look at its nature through that, and then Shantideva is trying to laying law or reduce or eradicate this our attach to that particular gender. From this stanza 43 to stanza 70, okay, 18 stanza, all mainly talks about this one, okay. With this basic understanding foundation, then look all this stanza until stanza 70. And then within this 18 stanza, he is kind of like a providing the different skills, different angles to look at its nature, from the various different angles to look at its nature. And this is something now, this instruction is for them, that who, even after understanding that how much hardship and difficulties they need to go through for that, but still they are willing to go that. Still they're thinking, oh, even though this is so hard, this is so hardship, but still at the end I will going to gain something. The people who have that kind of mental, for them this instruction Shantideva provided. Where the other persons who are able to reduce and eradicate by those above information alone, then this information is no needed. So from now here, this the main theme is kind of like a abandon craving and craving. Yeah, abandon craving and lust by contemplating upon its fleetness. Its fleetness, that's its nature. From this 43 to 70. That's what it's talking about, okay? So keep it that in mind. From here, the mainly instructing for what? For being for able to abandon craving and lust to that particular gender by contemplating upon its fleetness. So this instruction is needed for them, that even understanding all these hardships to take for that, to gain that, but still they want to do it. They think, even though it is hardship, but at the end I will going to achieve something. Okay, then Shantideva was saying, yes, you are going to achieve something. This is what you are going to achieve at the end. By experiencing or undergoing all this hardship, at the end, this is what you will going to achieve. So how Shantideva is here letting us contemplate, and then the mainly is the eradicate the attachment, desire towards different gender, okay? Towards gender attachment. So how now? How he is instructing? Kangshi tangbo pede tek 장장 ngoce wogduta ngene tonga matongyang kwegi dongni yogbar gyurus. Kyengen mombi dongdeni tata ngunsum gyurwashin 자그 살제 통 자그 기살 제통네 다다 치치를 제르와체. That's one way of looking its nature, its fleetness. These two stanza 43 and 44. So let me read first this translation. What pain you went to just to lift her face that modestly looked down, which looked upon or not before, was always with the will concealed. That face for which you languished so, well, here it is, now nakedly exposed. The vultures have uncovered it for you to see. What is this? You run away so soon. This is now again actually very much related with the culture. Culture. Okay. This is, I think, in that ancient time, during this Shantideva time, there has this culture that women are covering their face. They're not showing their face to everyone. Just like a Muslim today, that Muslim still does that. During the Shantideva's time, I think there are some region that they have this culture to not showing the woman's face to everyone. They're covering. But yes, actually, yeah, that when you fall in love in someone, then yes, you really much wants to see her face, like, and then taking off this what do you call it, that cloth which covering her face, you want to take off and then watch her face, isn't it? But this one now, even in an ancient time, but still even today, even within among the Muslims, but male doesn't cover their face. No, no, it's not talking about too much. It is talking about the covering, covering. But yes, the female. No, this it's not talking about true face. It is just talking very directly the cloth which covering our face. So no, no, it's not talking about that. This Kangshi Tangbo Bedetek. This is this advice, this method, the way of looking its nature, it's a little bit related with that culture, the ancient culture. Maybe this is not so much applicable for nowadays, because nowadays most of the female, they doesn't cover this their face. So if you want to see their face, yeah, you just go and see. But it's still that maybe they won't show face easily, right? Anyhow, so that putting so much effort or so enthusiastic to see her face, for the male, for the female, his face. Yeah, we really much like to see that face, isn't it? And when those two person who fall love in each other, when they meet, they staring each other face, isn't it? Staring. They gaze and staring each other's face by touching or kissing whatsoever. Her face that modestly looked down. That not applicable nowadays, isn't it? This is a really ancient style. That female showing little shy and then look down, don't look up. Okay, if it is still happening, then it's still applicable. But that in a very kind of like a, it seems this seems like some of this, like nowadays I feel not really applicable, that females are not feeling very shame to stare out gaze up to the their to the male kind of like a to the male that who she like. They don't really feel or even do this kind of like a modestly look down. They just look straight. Which look upon or not before was always with the veil concealed. This is now the background culture. Okay, this is a culture that they covering their face, but nowadays maybe not. But anyway, that face now, which you are so interested and enthusiastic to see or the watch, that face for which you languish so, well, here it is now, without concealed, nakedly exposed. The vulture have uncovered it for you to watch. But this is now is still nowadays not really applicable either. Because nowadays, I think still those some sort of like the country who preserving this ancient culture, maybe they do this still. But like the country who are kind of like a developed country, so-called like a developed country, like for instance here in Canada, they don't do this, right? They don't just throw their dead body in a cemetery. Either they bury very properly, putting in a coffin, packed very well, and then put it into the ground, the bury in the ground, or cremate. This is only two options, right? Here, I saw so far in Canada, only two. Either you cremate or you bury. And when you bury, there's the instructions. You cannot just bury like we used to do before. It has to be digged like a very deep, and then you need to coffin to cover, put it in, pack. So you see, this practice is not applicable for now. The vulture have uncovered it for you to see or watch. What is this? Now what are you doing? You run away so soon. Yeah, actually, if the very naked dead body fall, throw it in a somewhere, I don't know. This is again a little bit strange too. So maybe now this first idea is nowadays not really applicable. Maybe this first idea is not really applicable. We won't be able to apply this, implement this instructions, because there's no opportunity to implement this instruction. Where in an ancient time, those times, yeah, they have this opportunity to implement these instructions. In bottom line, what Shantideva was really saying here is that, yes, the persons who want to stay with the dead body, who is going to staring in a dead body's face, right? No one. Okay, now again here, when I say no one, I have heard some, my friend told me that some who are so attached to their love, their lover, their partner, Even to the dead body, they just wanna watch and stare on. That is now, I think, this is only applicable to those who are extreme, not general. I don't think this is very general. General majority maybe not going to do that. This is some, even according to the mundane, this is something crazy, isn't it? Not from the spiritual point of view, it's far. Even according to mundane, if someone does that, people will laugh. People will feel so strange, isn't it? I think rarely maybe that type of people could happen, possible, but majority, let's say, for instance, 100% lost their lover, lost their partner, right? Let's say among the 100, how many of them willing to do this? And how many of them will going to run away? That's what Shantideva said, to run away. That when that he or she are as alive, that you are thirsty to watch face. Now here in a cemetery, this nakedly throw with dead body, and then vulture also helping you to un, unconcealed that cloth from the face, and vulture also supporting you to watch. Now why you not watching? That's the one thing here Shandadeva was talking about. But I think this is nowadays a little bit this become like not really applicable. I think, okay, I feel. If it is really applicable, then yes. If you go, if this is very possible, that nowadays still we can throw the dead body in a cemetery just like an ancient time, just throwing like a garbage, then we can experience this, follow this instruction, and then we can say, oh, whether I want to see that face or I just want to run away. If at that moment, if you're feeling I should run away, then Shantideva here saying, no, you should watch, because this is the same face that which you have so enthusiastic to watch. That's not different face. This is the same face. That's the one thing. And then shena mikita na yang kangshik yongsu sungyurba chisi deni desana sena chenkyo chimi sungs. And then the next one, this one is stanza, is the another way of looking at its nature. That which ones you jealously protected, shielded from the eyes of other man. Yeah. Man to the man, female to the female, right? Woman to the woman. That same, we just need to switch, okay? Why miser that you are, don't you protect it now that it's the food of graveyard birds? This is kind of like these first three methods are Shantideva is kind of like a mocking us, isn't it? He's deliberating us. Yeah, this is exactly deliberating. One way we could say like, oh, Shantideva is deliberating to those who attach too much to their partner, attach too much to the gender, who have a strong desire of gender, looking for a gender, right? Yeah, this is exactly, actually, this is happening today's too. That first one, that which ones you jealously protect, shielded from the eyes of other men. Yeah, man does that. And then female, the woman does from the woman, other woman, right? That is, it still does. These things is still life, okay? Still alive. This will going to be last until we are able to remove that attach. As long as we are unable to remove that attach and desire towards that particular gender, particular person, this jealousy will never going to fade away. This jealousy is the bonus of having attachment towards that person. Bonus, is it bonus? It is just given free gift with the attachment. This jealous is free gift. If we wanna reduce jealous, yes, I have many friends too. Yeah, they wanna deal with the jealous. If you really wanna deal with the jealous, you should deal with the attachment. And willing to deal with the jealous, but not willing to deal with the attachment, desire, not possible then. Jealous is is the emotion that creates a lot of trouble to other, to self, and then to the friends too. Not only just between partner, but also within whole family. This jealous is shaking or ruining whole family, whole friends. Even in a class, whole classmate makes unhappy, disturbed. That when someone having jealous by someone, yeah, in short, that I have some friend that who really wants to deal with the control the jealous. So now here it's clear. If one wants to deal with the jealous, then must deal with the attachment, desire. When we remove attachment, jealous is not there then. What to jealous then? There's no point to jealous. Wherever you go, whoever you meet, whoever with whomever you talk, doesn't matter. And while holding this attachment, desire, and then hoping that I can handle the jealousy, then it is same now again, that as above what Guru Rinpoche said, that you then we are looking something which is not exist. It is always better not to look something which is not exist. That only creates problem. There's no any pleasant. So anyway, so this is just side topic. I'm saying whoever wants to work with the jealous and needs to work with the attachment, desire. And when we are able to reduce and eradicate the attachment, desire, and jealous will going to be fade. Okay, anyhow, get back to the point. So, yes, when the the other person who I like, who I love, who I fall in love in. Yes, I am so stingy to show that to the either my friend. I don't want to show to this to my friend, right? Because I'm worrying that maybe if I show this to my friend may be robbed from me. I may lose this, which I put so hard work that as above mentioned, this three hardship, which I took it already for this purpose. Now I get it here today. And then if I easily show this to everyone, to every my friend, then maybe my friend will going to take her away from me. Right? That miser, stingy. Because of that miser, stingy, because of the jealous that I would like to protect this, what I get by crossing all these three hardships. I don't want to lose this, right? Because I put so effort to get this. And then also for the female, same. I gone through all these three hardshipness to get that gentleman or whatsoever we call that man, right? And then she also doesn't want to show this to her friends, her friend circle, to her classmates, to her female classmate, to her female friend. She doesn't want to show this person because she also has this jealous and worry, miser, that she also have the same concerns, worry that if she does, she may going to lose this which she achieved by going through all these three hardshipness that which we discussed before. Now, these are all actually, it's very worth to contemplate and meditate on it. Through meditate, contemplate, then we can build that little sense. Otherwise, just study and then just like a reading book and then go to the next page, next page, next page doesn't without implementing its means without meditating upon these instructions, then very not it will not going to help. We really need to don't just close this book after a study. This book, open when you are free, you are alone, you are free. Open this book instead of thinking that partner, instead of thinking that person. And then read these stanzas and try to meditate upon it, upon this instruction, what Shantideva says. Does it really make sense? Does it really helps to reduce my attachment? Does it really helping to eradicate this my emotion of desire? If does, then try to meditate upon it. This now needs to be meditated. Through meditation, we can gain this all being able to see its nature and fleetness. And then the hardshipness of all those. We need to meditate upon this instruction, okay? Not just merely reading and intellectually understanding. It's not enough. Intellectually, these are not difficult to understand. These are so easy to understand intellectually. But these instructions are so rare putting into implement. These instructions are rarely implementing. These instructions are rarely meditating. That's why, even though intellectual understand all these things, it's not really shaking our this habit, pattern. It's not really doing anything with this pattern or habit of desire attach. Now, if we really wanna shake this our desire and attach, we must meditate upon this instruction, not just intellectual understanding. Intellectually, as I said earlier, these are not so difficult to understand. These are easy to understand. The practically now, this should be, now we need to implement this now. We need to implement this instruction. Then it's really, how to say, steers over this mind. And then it's really penetrating our desire and our attachment, and particularly to the attaching to the person, gender attachment. Gender attachment is the biggest problem maker within our life. As I said earlier, if anyone able to let it go, this gender attachment, and to this type of person, rest of other attachment is not difficult to let it go. Attaching to the wealth, attaching to the position, everything, it's not difficult to let it go. Comparatively, right? This is the attachment that which we have built it so thick habit. Huh? Biological, yeah, the habit. Yeah, we say biological factor. Biological factor means acceptable. We think like acceptable. And this biological means that's nature, right? Nature. And then in one way we say, oh, you can't fight with the nature. Biological. According to science, no against to your attachment, right? So you see, nowadays many people are influenced by science. Now we need to be careful here. That's not truth. This is not nature. We built it habit. It's not nature. Anyone who's saying this is nature because of biological or whatsoever reason they provide, even those great scientists, I will say wrong. I will say this is wrong. It is not nature. It is our habit. We built it this. It is not just randomly comes. We built it. Awarely or unawarely, that's there. Knowingly or unknowingly, yes, that's there. But in short, it is not nature at all. Never mindset that this is nature. Once we set in our mind, this is biological, this is nature of human, then it becomes, as soon as we set our mind, then it is impossible to remove. Because in our mind, we already said, this is something just comes with it. What to remove? There's nothing to remove. If you really want to remove, then you die. That's what only have, I think they have this idea. If you want to remove this, you must die. You should not live in like world. Then your attach is gone. Maybe they have this concept. But even die, attachment is going to be remain, according to the Buddhism, right? Or we can say according to the fact. Anyway, okay, so the And you will deck with, no, why miser that you are? Okay, before you are doing that, why, when that your lover is alive, right? Now this is talking about after that your partner died, right? After your partner died, why miser that you are? Don't you protect it? Now that it's the food of graveyard birds. But I will tell you some interesting thing here. There are, yeah, few who did protect. Very well known history. Let's say this Taj Mahal, in India, Taj Mahal, this one Muslim king. Yes, he did protect even after she died. He built this Taj Mahal for to protect her body. Again, here now, this is in a world that become like one of the greatest symbol for the love, right? That's what they say. This is the symbol for the love. This has so bad history. We neglecting all this other background of this Taj Mahal, and then we only revealing that he built it because he loved so much to his wife, his late wife, right? Late wife. And then we looking only this part and then admiring so much to him, especially young boys and girls admiring by this. And some tourist guide, they also guiding only that part. And this telling this history and then saying, look how he care about his late wife, how much he loved. Even after passed away, he wants to protect very well. Actually, that is so silly. That should not be proud to spread it out, this history. The fact, actually, this better to hide this history from the people. It is something shameful to say it, actually. That's what I feel, okay? Anyway, so, but proudly, out loudly, this history is sharing. And then saying, that's why this is the symbolic of love. Neglecting all the other background history. How many people he killed to build this Taj Mahal? How many people he put it into crisis, not to let them work for themselves, but let them to build this silly house, useless house. And then also nowadays, almost looks like we everybody, like in here, according to the Canadian culture, we do protect a little bit for a while, for a few days, even after death. We protect very well to make sure clean up and put all the gentleman suit if the man, and then if the female, put all those nice beautiful clothes on her body in a final paying respect. That's what they say, right? Farewell ceremony. They named very well. Look, farewell ceremony. What is ceremony? This is not a ceremony. We try to cover all the fact and we try to fabricate everything. Even the things which are naturally so ugly, we try to make up. And then most of the people, yeah, they won't protecting their love, their late lover, like this, and this Muslim king did in India, right? I don't know now. Is still her body is there? It will going to fade itself anyway. I don't know now. Still her body is there or not? But you know what happened actually also, that if you really look into this history itself, there's a movie made his history in India. And actually, according to that history, he was killed by his own son. Yeah, you see how how he terrified his rest of the life after he losing his position to his own son. That's the consequences. Look, that's the karma. He was kind of like a miserable in his later life, and finally got killed by his own son in a prison. See, so these part we never talk. We only talk this, this beautiful marble house is made for his late wife. Isn't it how much he cared about her, how much he loved her? That just stop talking that. Only talking this one, only spreading out this information, which is so deceiving. Are any of one wants to take copyright from this advice, this history, to do the same thing to one's late lover? Rarely in a world, yes, but there are some stingy miser that they even protect the after die. But Shanti Deva here assuming that based on his own, he is like a wise person, right? So I think he is talking based on his own intelligence, that he assuming there will not going to be anybody that who will protect after death, and they, based on this is assumption, he's talking this stanza 50. Which is that 45, I think. But this Muslim king failed his assumption. But actually, it is like a 1 in a billion. It cannot count, right? Cannot count 1 in a billion. That type of person is 1 in a billion. And even if we talk from the percentage wise, then more than cannot count that, right? Yeah. So normally in ancient time, also like that after death, the dead body, we don't care. We just throw it in a ceremony, this cemetery, Chinese ground, right? And then even vulture eats, let it. This kind of things, vulture eating, In ancient time, yeah, India has this tradition, and then Tibet also has. Tibet, even nowadays, we do this. You can see even today's that they throwing this dead body in a just channel ground and then let the old vulture eat. And based on those, as the kind of like a situation that Shantideva was saying this, to let us watch that, which you are protecting so hardly when that person is alive. And then now he's kind of like a mocking. Now you should protect. Go protect there. These vultures are eating that person who you really want to protect so far. This is kind of like a deliberating mocking, actually. And then the also next one also like he's mocking continuously, I think. Shai pumbo nditone chagu tangshen sashena shenji sela metoki tenwa zenden genji chu. That look, this mass of human flesh is now the fear of carrion beast. Carrion beast. Dead body, yeah, the carrion beast. Right? And you would deck with the garland, sandalwood, and jewels the food and provender of others. That's another deliberating again. Now Shantideva was again deliberating or mocking us. Is it mocking us? Can I say that? Mock? He's mocking us. That what he's kind of like saying that what I am really doing right now, providing all this garland, sandalwood. Sandalwood means perfume. Nowadays, perfume, okay? At that time, sandalwood, perfume, and then jewels, right? This all ornament that we buying the rings and earrings and kind of like those very fancy, luxury, expensive rings with the gold, diamond, and earrings and the necklaces. And then we person who doing that, Shantideva was mocking to that, mocking to them, that saying, why you are providing garlands and perfumed and jewels and so forth to the somebody else's food, somebody else's food. Now again, this one is also not really directly applicable nowadays because we don't feed the vulture, right? If we feed the vulture our late whoever, the dead body, then this very touch this instruction. Since we are not really feeding to the vulture and to the anything. Huh? Yeah, actually, yes, that is true. But this is a little bit hard to observe. Hard to observe. Seeing with the naked eye freshly that body is eaten by those vultures, that very give a strong sense, feeling. This feeling now in this developed country, we cannot get it. If you want to get that sense, we must go to those countries where they preserve this ancient traditional of kind of feeding that body to the vultures and so on. This is actually mocking or deliberating anyway. So until now, this 4 stanza is Shantideva's kind of like a deliberating and mocking to us with our behave, that what we are doing while our partner is alive. And why Shantideva was saying, why don't you behave same when that partner is passed away too? Why don't you protect just like how you're protecting when she is alive. Why don't you protect her dead body just like how you protecting when she was alive? And then same idea to the female. Why don't you protect his dead body as same as how you protecting his body while he is alive? Why you are running away the face that which you are so eager to watch, see? Now in a charnel ground, by seeing this same dead body, the same face, why you are running away? You should stay there and watch, stare out. That's what he's saying. Are we really able to do that? I don't think I will be able to do this ever. Doesn't matter how much I love that particular person, but I will never going to stare on that body. Okay, until here, mocking, deliberating. Shadideva was letting us watch our behave and kind of like a comparing this life and death are the same nature, right? Understand? This is easy to understand, right? Yeah. Okay, anyway, so we stop here today. We'll continue tomorrow. And we do dedicate Sanam de tamje zigba nyin, topne nyembe dranam pamje ne, shega nanje walon tubai, siben zolen dogun do warsho, rinjenge jambal bawe jidara kembanda, kundu zambo te yan te shinde, te da kunji jesu dalovje, gewan de da tamje rabdu ngo, gewan de yeshe okun, Senam yeshe tsozo ne, senam yeshe le chungwe, tamba kunyin tobar shu, sanje kusum nyebe chenlam dang, chunyi mingyur dembe chenlam dang, gendin meche dembe chenlam ki, jedara ngowa melam dobar shu. By this beneficial activity, may I obtain omniscient and having vanquished the harmful enemies, greed, anger, delusion. May I liberate all being tossed about helplessly by the waves of birth, aging, illness, and death in the ocean of becoming. By conforming to the knowledge of courageous Manjushri, Jambal Yang, and in the same way as Samandabhadra, Kundusangbo, and following their example, I dedicate perfectly all this virtue. By this virtue, may all being perfectly achieve the accumulation of merit, sonam, and wisdom, yeshi, and may they thereafter obtain the two holy bodies which result from these two accumulations. By the blessing of the Buddha, Sanji, who obtained the three bodies, by the blessing of the immutable truth of the Dharmata, Chunyi, by the blessing of the infallible aspiration of the Sangha, Gendin, may this prayer of dedication be accomplished just as it is. Thank you. Have a good day. See you.
See you. Thank you.